How's it going, everybody? This is Justin from Tech Central, and today we will be learning how to start editing using Premiere Pro. So this is the first video in this tutorial series. Today we will be learning how to open a project in Premiere and familiarize yourselves with the workflow in Premiere. Then we will export the project. If you did not understand what I was talking about, don't worry, this is a tutorial for beginners and I will be talking about everything from scratch. However, keep in mind, we will be covering intermediate to advanced topics later, so like and subscribe if you want more of that. Now, without further ado, let's get right into it. First, let's start off by opening Premiere Pro. Once Premiere is open, we are going to create a new project by clicking on the Create Project button, or going to File and clicking New and then Project. So this pop-up box shows up every time you create a new file. Then we need a place to save it, so we need to click on the Browse button to enter a location. I'm saving mine on my desktop. So the first thing we're going to do is give it a name. I'm naming mine Premiere Pro Tutorial Part 1. Then we need to look under the General tab over here. First, you need to select the renderer. If you have a graphics card, go ahead and select that. If you don't have a graphics card, I'm going to show you what to do. So I have selected Mercury Playback Engine GPU Acceleration OpenCL. This is better than my other option, which relies solely on software. A general rule of thumb, you always want to select the best one or the most powerful option for smooth editing in Premiere. Then for display format under the audio, I would leave it at audio samples. You can go for milliseconds if you know what you're doing. But remember, for a beginner, I would recommend leaving it at audio samples. Then under capture, for capture format, choose the one that your camera supports. If you did not use Firewire, then this will not affect anything. And if you did not use a camera, then just leave it at DV. If you did not know what I was talking about, I would recommend leaving it at DV, as it will work 99% of the time. Then you can check this box if you like. It basically says that in this project, all the file labels will always be shown. I personally leave it off because when I'm working with lots of files with large names, it just gets annoying because it shows it every single time. Then for the Scratch This tab, I would not change anything. And I wouldn't recommend changing it either, unless you really know what you're doing. Lastly, for the ingest settings, I leave everything the way it is, but here you can basically create proxies, which we will be discussing in tutorials further down the line. Now, just go ahead and click that blue OK box as we're good to go. Now, if you never use a professional feature-packed video editing tool like Premiere, the first look of it may be overwhelming. But you do not need to worry, everything's easy to remember as everything is right where you'd expect it to be, except for a few things. So first, I'd like to draw your attention to this top strip or bar within Premiere. So in Premiere, these are called workplaces. Each workplace helps us focus on one thing at a time. So I'm currently in the assembly workplace. As the name suggests, this is where you import and organize all your media. This is the first workplace. The next one is the editing workplace. This is where you'll be spending most of your time actually editing. There are many sections in this workplace that we will be discussing after I've shown you all the sections. Then we have the color workplace. This workplace makes it easier for us to color grade or color correct our footage. We will be doing a standalone video on color grading and color correcting soon. Moving on, we have the audio workplace. That helps us play around with the audio, but this for the most part is quite basic. For more features, I'd recommend checking out Adobe Audition. Then we have the graphics workplace, which helps us create graphics such as titles and other slick effects that help make our videos more professional. Lastly, we have the library workplace, which is used to access your assets from the Adobe stock. Many of us will probably not even use this workplace at all, and some people use it rarely. Now let's go back to the assembly workplace to import our media. So for this video, I'm going to be using stock footage that I found online to create a sort of a cinematic sequence. We're going to go to the assembly workplace to import the media by double clicking this box over here, or holding Control and I in Windows and Command I on Mac. Now let's head back in the editing timeline. Now a quick way to import media in the editing workplace is to double click in this box, as it is basically a similar version of the same box in the assembly workplace. I'm going to create a folder, or bin as it's called in Premiere, by clicking on this folder icon. And I'm going to name it raw footage. Then I'm just going to drag and drop my footage into that folder. I'm going to create another folder and name it drone shots, and again just drag and drop. I would also like to draw your attention towards these two small icons at the bottom left corner of this box. These buttons switch between the list view and the icon view. So the list view is useful when you just want to see all the files in one glance, but the icon view is more useful while viewing footage because you can actually see what's going on inside the media. To show, let me just open up this file so that you guys can see what I'm talking about. So now if I place my mouse above that thumbnail and move it left or right, it changes. So this is kind of like a live thumbnail. So as you move, it actually shows what's going on inside the video. It's super useful when you have multiple videos that look similar, but you don't know which is the correct one. So now we're going to drag our video onto this window that is above the assembly window. If you're unable to drag your media into this box, just make sure that you're dragging it into the source tab. We can now preview your footage if we click the play button, or we can drag this blue pointer head to see different parts of the video. An even easier method is to hold down the right or left keys, or press the keys one at a time, which allows you to see the footage frame by frame, which is useful when you're creating in and out marks. So let's talk about that. So the in and out marks basically tells Premiere where you want it to start and where you want it to end. In is where you want to start, out is where you want to end. And to create an in marker, you can click here or hit I on your keyboard. Then to create an out marker, just click here or click O on your keyboard. And just to let you guys know, all the shortcuts I'm talking about in this video are the default shortcuts. You can customize the shortcuts according to your liking, as they're all programmable. Now to insert this onto our timeline, we can press this icon or hit comma on our keyboard. You can also drag the footage onto your timeline. This is where all your media is inserted. Now we have two clips on our timeline. Now let's play this back. So to play this video back, we can just hit the play button in the preview box, which is in the top right, or hit space. You can delete a clip from the timeline simply by clicking on it, and once the clip becomes highlighted, just hit delete. Now I'm going to drag the clip of the cathedral into the source tab. I'm going to set an in and out marker for this clip as well. Then insert it using the insert icon. Now when it gets inserted into the timeline, you can see that it gets inserted right where my playhead was, or just this blue arrow thing is located. And in this case, since my playhead was on the other clip, Premiere just deletes that part of the old clip where the new clip is inserted. I don't want that to happen. Now, as you can see, it just leaves two fragmented clips. So I always recommend dragging the video onto your timeline. When dragging your video onto the timeline, you can select where it actually gets inserted onto the timeline, instead of Premiere just deciding to put it where the playhead is. And also, if you notice, once you drag clips onto the timeline, they snap together. This is a huge time saver, which you'll learn about later. Now let's drag this other footage into the source window and then into my timeline. Now if you pay close attention to these two windows, you can see that in the preview window, which is the right one, is zoomed in. Well, why is this? This is because the resolution of the clip is higher than the resolution of this project. To look at the resolution of this particular clip, we can select the clip and go into the info tab over here. This says that the clip is 2556 by 4144 pixels, which is basically 1440p, which is higher than 1080p. So what Premiere does is that it censors that video and crops out the rest of the image or the video. For my case, it was a video. To change or view the resolution of the project, go to Sequence, then Sequence Settings, and we can now see the resolution of the sequence. For me, it is 1920 by 1080p. To change the resolution of this clip, we need to first have it in our timeline, then to select the clip. Then we need to go under the Effect Controls tab located right beside the source. Now there are a number of things you can tweak in here, but we are concerned with the scale. So if you put your mouse over it and click on it, and then if you move it left or right, you'll see that it increases or decreases the scale depending on the scroll. So now we can adjust the scroll. You can also type in the percentage in the box here. For me, it's 75. You can also use this slider at the bottom of the timeline to zoom in or out of the timeline. So when I zoom out, I see that the clip of the city is too long. To quickly cut down the length, I can just hover my mouse towards the end of the clip, and notice how my arrow pointer turns into this red thing. Now just click on it and drag in whichever direction to increase or decrease the length of the video. So I'm going to just drag to my left to decrease the length of the video. Now if you notice on the Lake Drone clip, there is an audio layer open even though it has no sound. Having unnecessary audio channels open just clutters everything up. So if you try and delete the audio from the video, then the video will be deleted with it. This happens because they're both linked together. To delete only the audio, we need to unlink the two. To unlink, just select the clip, then right click on it, then select unlink. Now the audio and the video are separate. So now we can just click on the audio and get rid of it. Now let's add some background music to give it a complete feel. To import audio, we can just follow the same process that we did to import clips earlier, or just double click here, or press Ctrl and then I. Then find the audio file and then click open. Now drag that audio file into the source window. You can see that it shows the audio waveforms. Now if I want to drag the audio onto the timeline, I must use this icon to drag only the audio. The icon beside it only allows us to drag the video or footage, but since this file has no video, you can only drag the audio. So we could have used the other button earlier to drag only the audio or video, but I did not show that to you guys because I wanted to show you guys that in Premiere there are many different ways of doing the exact same things. Some ways are faster and more efficient than others for certain tasks. Now I'm also going to cut down the audio to match my footage using the technique that we used earlier. I'm not going to spend too much time matching the footage to the beat of my audio because I want to keep this tutorial relatively short, but just keep in mind, matching the footage with the beat of the audio makes it more professional and gives it a cinematic feel. Now I'm done with this project, and now I want to make this an actual video that we can watch. To do so, we need to export the project as an MP4 file. To export, go in File, then Export, then Media. Once a pop-up box shows up, you can just click Match Sequence Settings to export the video. Or if you want to do it more manually, select H.264 because it's very well known and it's the most popular codec as a format. And then for your preset, click on Max Source High Bitrate for a high quality video. And there's many other presets that you can play around with, but that one is almost guaranteed to work and it's just quick. But also check out the video in the description for more in-depth render settings. Then select where you want the final product to be saved, and then click on Export. The video may take a long time to render, depending on how long the video is, the resolution you used, and how powerful your computer is. And the presets that you used or the render settings can also affect that. You can then view the final video by going to the location that you saved it in. And that just about wraps up this tutorial. This is Justin from Tech Central signing off. If you have any questions or if you're experiencing any difficulties, please let me know in the comment section below. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe for more great content like this. Peace.